against Garrett Cole. I thought they were prepared. I thought they and to be fair, they had a really great approach against Corbin Burns on Tuesday also. Kind of just didn't work out. There were some really hard hit balls, some high expected batting average balls that didn't hit, all that stuff. So I think they've done a really nice job. And against Eflin to some extent too, they've done a nice job of being prepped for the starting pitching. But bullpens, had their strength in the regular season was scoring late on bullpens. And in the 3 games in the postseason, bullpens have really shut them down.
Right.
So I think that's something that, take the off day, figure that out. You have to make such quick adjustments in the postseason, and this one you actually have a little bit more time because this weird off day, but after game 1, so it's that's a bit of a concern moving forward. But I also don't think. I guess I shouldn't say this. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I also don't think you're going to have a bad replay review again. I don't.
Right.
I also don't think you're going to probably not walk 8 guys in a game again. So there are a lot of factors that the Yankees may have stolen one, but I think you could make a pretty strong argument the Royals played better than the Yankees, actually. It's just that the things that went more wrong for the Royals.
Right, and if they rule the guy out, they don't score, but still a tie game, and the Royals weren't showing any signs of doing anything. Let's look ahead to Game 2. This is pretty vital now. Not that you can't come back, but it'll be difficult sledding, that's for sure. And Cole Ragans has been very good this season, and he's back in prime form, it would seem, heading to this. Now he has to face Judge, lefty on righty. He looked great in his opening thing. Let's just talk Ragans first before we talk about the schizophrenic Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, this is why I think Game 2 in this series, when it's game, off day, game, off day, game, off day, game in a 5-game series. I think this is why. Did I add one more off day to that? I may have.
No, I think you're right.
Yes, 3 off. That's crazy. 3 off days in a 5-game series. Game 2 starter, I think, is so important because heading into the series, you're either down 1-0 or up 1-0 going into Game 2. There's no other options.
Right.
And so, as the road team, your Game 2 starter can either put you in a dominating position or steal back home field advantage. Mm-hmm. And then because of the off day, he is available again for Game 5.
Right.
On regular rest. And so this is the perfect spot for Cole Ragans. I think a lefty in Yankee Stadium is always preferable because you got lefty on lefty for the short porch. Yep. It's short in left field, but the ball kind of gets held up out there.
It's short and very down the line in left field, but it gets...
Yes, but then it gets big
pretty fast.
Real fast. So, and there's a little bit of a stadium structure thing that keeps the ball in the park a little bit better to the left side. So I think that's... you benefit lefties at Yankee Stadium on the mound and at the plate, obviously. So I think this is a great spot for Cole Ragans. A couple things I'm looking for. I want to see if the velocity is there, and I want to see if he can get a little deeper because he left the last start with a left calf cramp. Say that 10 times fast.
Right.
The last time that happened, because it did happen in late August, he came back against Houston and was dominant for 5 innings. He had that was the game that he struck out 8 in a row. He was phenomenal, and then the wheels fell off. Now, slight difference because it is the playoffs and because there's another off day after the game. I don't think he's going to get – I think he pitched to 6 batters in that 6th inning. I don't think he's going to get 6 batters if the wheels start to fall off. So I don't think it's going to go as bad as it did in Houston, but I'm curious to see how deep he gets because, again, the last time he had this calf issue, he was great until he wasn't. So that's something I'm looking for. But again, the velocity, I want to see if he's coming out at 92, 93, I'm going to be a little bit worried. If he doesn't need to be 97, 98 like he was in Baltimore. I think he was amped up for his first postseason start. But I want to see 95s. I want to see 96s. I mean, maybe a 97 would be nice to see.
Right.
If that's there, I'm going to feel really good about it. But unfortunately, we won't know until
chilly pitch.
I don't know, about 6:50 Central Time on Monday evening.
Right. And Rodon has been wildly inconsistent, but his ERA is 3.9, and he had 7 or 8 just horrendous starts. So he's been pretty darn good 2/3 of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find what I wrote the other day, but let's see. He
gave up 9 runs a couple times. I know that.
Yeah, so he made 32 total starts, gave up 2 or fewer in 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time, Carlos Rodon is good, and the Royals have seen the really good Rodon in Kansas City, and they actually got the rare in the middle. I feel like when they were in New York last month, he gave up 4 runs, only 2 were earned. He wasn't great, he wasn't bad. Typically, if Carlos Rodon looks good early, he's going to give you 6 with 1 run,
right,
or 7 or 8. You're going to know pretty quickly. And so I think it's important. I would assume we'll see a different lineup. I don't think Massey's going to lead off against him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Quatrero likes what he's
doing. With a couple hits,
spot. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tommy Pham at the top again. Vinny Pasquantino is still going to hit third, I think. I think they really like him as protection and the threat there. But I think it's going to be important. I'm assuming Pham, but it could be Massey or Bobby Witt. One of those two needs to get going in the first 2 at-bats.
Right.
They need to get a guy on base, get some traffic. Rodon is not great against traffic, so I think that's a big thing. And you go back to the Judge comment about the mindset and getting your brain right. He might start to feel like, here we go again, if the Royals can get something going early.
Right. Well, it's a big one, and it's just exciting to talk about October baseball and big games and everything else, and you got a time to let it breathe. This is not like the regular season where it's the relentless drumbeat of day-by-day baseball. Should be great. David, always appreciate the time, and we're looking forward to at least 2 more games.
Oh, here's hoping.
Yes. David Lesky from Inside the Crown joining us. The rest of the baseball story and the rest of the story in the rest of the sports world besides football. It comes your way next. Football on Tuesday, all the rest today on Monday Musings-Danny and Friends Sports Wrap, presented by ASFCA.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
It's always a pleasure to catch up with Dr. Brad Woodle from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, 8 locations all around Kansas City, the latest in Raytown. Pick out the one that's most convenient for you and pick it out this fall. If you've got a young athlete who needs a little bit of treatment or tender, loving care, injuries can happen, little strains can happen, and Dr. Woodle, you can help them out.
We take care of athletes both in prevention and in those injuries. Things happen. But the most exciting thing is we can take care of almost anything that deals with bones, muscles, joints. Whether it's a sprain, strain, or a concussion, we can take care of that athlete.
That you can at all the locations around Kansas City, and you can get that treatment, your own treatment, all the treatments you want to make you feel better, body, mind, and spirit at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. It's football season in Kansas City, and all of us at Easton Roofing cannot wait to watch Patty Icicles take us to our 3rd straight Super Bowl championship. There's been a lot of storm damage this year. We're here before the storm, and we will be here well after, leaving a legacy of quality work handled by quality people. Not everybody got a new roof from their insurance company. If that's you, give us a call. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyClinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. Our thanks to David. That was really fun, as it always is. Fun, informative. His newsletter is fantastic. His weekend wrap today is Mondays are free, but really it's a very, very cost-effective way to follow the Royals in depth and make sure that you are smarter than your friends about the Kansas City Royals. The rest of the baseball has been quite fun, too. The Guardians won easily on Saturday. They take the day off just like the Royals, and Tigers are trying to bounce back. Tigers have been the hottest team in baseball for about a month now, but they were cooled in a 7-0 victory by the Guardians. Game 2 this afternoon, and we'll see if the Guardians get themselves into a great position there. Over in the National League, there have been a lot of electricity and fireworks and run scoring, fan involvement, and everything else. And what it's added up to is that the Mets and Phillies and the Padres and Dodgers are knotted up at 1 game apiece. Mets and Phillies played a game very reminiscent of the Royals and the Yankees game on Saturday. Back and forth it went, and in the end, the Phillies walk it off with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Mets had roared from behind a couple times to take the lead, but couldn't hang on to it. The Mets now have played 4 consecutive games where the team leading entering the 8th inning has lost the game. Twice it's been the Mets, twice it's been the Mets' opponent, and so it's knotted up at 1 game apiece. It was Nick Castellanos with the big hit. He also had a big home run in that game. There have been all kinds of home runs in Citizens Bank Park. It's going to head to Citi Field now. Pete Alonso has been excellent for the Mets. Pitching has not been at a premium in this particular series so far. It's going to be an exciting one between 2 teams. Well, the fans basically, no doubt, interact a lot. Obviously, New York and Philadelphia are not far apart at all, and these teams share a lot of New Jersey fans, and I'm sure the South Jersey people and the North Jersey people right in the middle of New Jersey, I don't know who roots for who. Anyway, the Phillies win 7-6. That was a cool game to watch if you weren't watching Sunday Night Football. And then the Mets, the Padres and the Dodgers, actually that was a late afternoon game for the Mets and the Phillies. The game that was up against the football, you probably could have ignored a little bit, although there was a lot of action in that one too. Padres, after seeing the Dodgers rally for a win in Game 1 of the series, come out with their home run bats and explode for a 10-2 victory over the Dodgers. And Hugh Darvish was excellent for the Dodgers. I have to say, when I was watching the game, and Hugh Darvish was pitching, and I knew he'd been around for a while, and of course most players who come over from Japan don't do so when they're very, very young. Never really crossed my radar that Hugh Darvish is 38 years old, but he is, and he pitched them to victory. There were 6 home runs from the Padres. Jurickson Profar made a catch in the stands, and that started some interaction with the left field bleachers, and eventually they throw a baseball at him. There was an 11-minute delay. There all kinds of craziness ensued in that Padres-Dodgers series and that game. These 2 teams, these 2 series, take the day off as the American League plays today. And the Kansas City Royals previewed excellently by David Lesky. And we'll see if the Royals can bounce back and, just not make Wednesday a survival test at the K. I'll be out there covering that game and very much looking forward to the return of covering Major League Baseball playoff action for the first time in a decade. That will be fun. Playoffs have been fun. To me, the baseball right now, I don't know about you. We'll talk about it with Stan tomorrow, but I have not found, there were some good games in the NFL yesterday, absolutely, but just a lot of games where I don't feel like I have much interest at all, but there were 2 spectacular ones yesterday. Fun to get Stan's take on the AFC teams, and if the Chiefs win tomorrow, they're going to be in fantastic shape in the AFC. Well, more fantastic shape than the season for Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City will either come very close or have their worst season ever points-wise in MLS. They were thumped pretty good by LAFC on Saturday night at home, 3-0. A lot of conversation about whether it's Johnny Russell's last go-round for Sporting Kansas City. They have 16 players who are out of contract at the end of this season. There's going to be some serious shaking up. Peter Vermees was pretty blunt. He said, well, that team's better than us, flat out. And my players, let's face it, I'll be honest with you, they know they're out of it, and it showed in their play. Really kind of a really tough admission for a coach who's supposed to get his team motivated no matter what the circumstances. But this has been a star-crossed season for Sporting, and they lost to the same team in their chance for salvaging a little something from the season when they lost that cup final a couple of weeks ago. So up and down the roster, there'll be things to look at, decisions to make, and an entirely new-look team for Sporting Kansas City in 2025, which should create some excitement going into that season. We'll see how things play out. Unless you're the really most into it soccer fan, a lot of the signings that they'll probably make won't register with you naturally, even if they probably are excellent ones. Peter Vermees will be in charge. We know that. And next year will be a very important one as they retool for Sporting Kansas City. No need to that for the Current. They won 2-0 on Saturday, and they continued to play very, very well. Now they anticipate